tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Surlana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence. And remember, it's Spaceboy's Universe, and you're in it.
Greetings and hello and salutations. It is Spaceboy, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe. I'm your wonderful host, Spaceboy, and it is February 27, 2016, and this is show number 023, and tonight is a great episode. Tonight we have the impressive Dave Cruz from Beyond the Strange. So follow us here at Spaceboy Universe, at the SB Universe on Twitter. Also hashtag us at SB Universe. We're on Facebook, too, as well, Spaceboy Universe. And, of course, if you want to chat along with all the other Space Cadets, you can chat with us at the Spreaker.com Spaceboy Universe page. All the other Space Cadets are filing in as we speak. Also, you know, we understand that it is Saturday night, and sometimes you like to go out fighting, I guess like Elton John likes to say, because Saturday nights are made for fighting. And, you know, so sometimes you can't catch the live show, so that's what I'm saying. So the way to do that is through Spreaker, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And before I get a little too long-winded in the mouth, in front of me is the lovely Surlana. Hello, Surlana.
I'm no longer to your left. Now I'm directly in front of you.
Yes, I felt like I was...
some changes in the room here.
Yes, I'm trying to keep you on track and make sure that you don't falter. And
oh, he can spy on me now, and he sees I'm not paying attention and playing, you know, like a jigsaw puzzles,
while
there's an
Scrabble
interview.
or anything like that. So now I can watch you, and it feels more like we're having a conversation.
And
versus
you can actually see when the Skype calls come in.
I can see where the Skype calls come in. I can see when you're telling me that I'm getting too close to the sun, Icarus. You know, all that good stuff. And
like this?
Yeah, the
there
Icarus sign, yes. So I'm going to be very, very careful now, since now I'll be able to see her little postie cards and tell me little direct messages.
That you can't see, but he can.
So how are you tonight, Surlana?
I am 40% better than I was last Saturday.
Well, that's good to hear.
With that stupid throat thing. I still can't breathe properly, but it's a lot better.
Well, I'm glad you're doing better. Is there anybody... I know you probably were waiting towards the break part, but, you know, with our Space Cadets, there's, you know, it's a big family out there, and we want to wish some people out there.
Yeah. We hear that Beverly is doing better, may get to come home, and we hope she continues to improve and get back with us and chat, and we get to hear from her maybe later in a phone call. So all our best to Beverly and her husband, Robert.
Because let's face it, you know, a Spaceboy Universe night is just not complete unless Bev calls in. So that's important. What else you got there?
I just would like to put a shout out there to my friend Leanne, who does sometimes participate in the Spreaker chat. She's going through a little rough patch now with some sad news with her in her universe. So just let her know that we're thinking of her tonight.
Yes, Leanne, our hearts and minds go out to you too. So let's get right into it. No time to waste. So Where do we begin? I mean,
It is carefully constructed banter time.
do you want to spin the wheel and bring something up? And
He said, "You got anything for banter?" I'm like, "Nope," because my life is boring.
actually,
so
you said a few things, and you got me on a
I
rant.
have to go do some quick research, and so I found things that I know you would be interested in. So,
Okay.
for instance, there's a rumor now that Kool-Aid might be bringing back the Ecto Cooler flavor,
Oh yeah.
and there might be slime, quote unquote, green slime filled Twinkies in honor of the new Ghostbusters movie.
I don't know. Is it key lime flavored?
Key
or-
lime, yes.
Yeah,
I don't think I want that personally. I like Twinkies, but
I think I
I'm
would
not
try.
into key lime.
I would try at least one. But as far as the Ecto Cooler thing,
I never had one. Were they good?
I am.
Did you have
oh
one?
my God! As a kid, when I was a kid, and some people can back me up on this. It was in a can, and you could it had the
Was it
little
a can?
kind of like opener thing that you put 2 holes in it so you could pour it out. That's before they started putting it into like boxes and the little cooler things that the kids have today. But yeah, that's when I was growing up on it. And
See, I remember the cardboard boxes with the Ecto Cooler. I never had it though.
there is no way to describe the flavor. I mean, it's not
So
like
why did they
it's
ever
it's,
stop?
it's
Was
not
it-
it's
was
not
it-
like it's that's definitely a strawberry, or that's definitely watermelon. This
So it was successful,
it was successful.
and they just took it off because it was only promotional.
I guess it was promotional, but
They could have kept making money.
well, they could have. But I guess that's what's going to happen with the new Ghostbusters coming out. Which, incidentally, Ecto Cooler, because on the picture on the product had Slimer on it. Which, incidentally,
Yeah.
I heard and read today that Slimer is going to be into the new movie. So that's going to
Well,
be
he's
pretty.
a ghost. He can't
Well,
die
I know
or
he couldn't
anything.
die anything, but nobody knows the kind of the story on this new Ghostbusters thing. But I've heard that Slimer is going to be a part of the new movie, so I'm kind of stoked for that.
Yes, nostalgia everywhere.
What else you got for me?
That's it.
That's it.
You said you were going to talk about some things.
Well,
what
I mean,
about
I've got
what
a
about Deadpool? We got to see Deadpool
We did, but
on Valentine's Day.
which is great news for Ryan Reynolds because apparently he got his chimichanga payout. He got $10 million as a back end payout for.
Well, he
for
was
the movie.
also a producer.
Well, true, but still, $10 million. Just boom, hey, we made a movie and it did well. Here's a little spending cash for you.
I think he earned it.
Yeah,
it
I
was
think he did.
enjoyable.
I mean, for what he had to put up
The
for.
plot was a little. I don't know. I thought it could be a little better, but hey, we knew going into it, it's just for fun. You don't take it so
considering,
seriously.
I look at this movie as it was like a shoestring budget. I mean, compared to other movies, and they put together a great movie. All things considering, that Fox really didn't. Well, okay, we'll give you some money to make this movie, and it did phenomenal. And it kind of like I told you it would work kind of thing from Ryan Reynolds. So
Yeah, he said it was 10 years in the making,
Yeah.
and he's been trying to lobby for it, but for some reason, the studio didn't want to do it. They didn't want to do a rated R. They didn't think anybody would come see it, which is stupid.
Well, that's
Stupid.
interesting you bring that up because now the next Wolverine movie is supposedly going to be rated R, and they're saying, it wasn't because of Deadpool or whatever. But, Deadpool has really kind of changed the game here as far as these movies are concerned, and, it goes to show you that you can make a superhero rated R movie, which, incidentally, when you going from that, I've watched the Marvel stuff that's on Netflix. You've got Daredevil, you got Punisher coming out.
Oh, yeah?
I know I'm going to mess this up. Jessica Jones, that's it. Jessica Jones coming out. That was the last thing that I just watched. And that was kind of, kind of racy, They didn't go too far into the deep end like Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool, but still, you can make an edgy movie, and and the people will come to see it. And sometimes
I wouldn't mind going back to see it.
Second time?
Before it leaves the theaters.
Yeah, we'll see. So, but yeah, and then so that's great for Ryan, and as far as movies coming out, I don't know what's coming out next that it's really on my radar right now that I want to see. I mean, other than Netflix, Daredevil's about to come out. I know you don't care about it, or
Not
just
really.
you
I
know,
don't know
it's
anything
not,
about Daredevil.
It's not your cup of tea, but From what I saw the preview, it looks freaking awesome. I mean, it is. I mean, because they're going to have Punisher in the second season.
Don't know anything about Punisher.
I'm going to have to give you a 411 later. But, yeah, so just trust me. The preview that I saw for the show looks very, very awesome.
What's the latest? I hear there's speculation about who's going to be the next Doctor Who.
Well, Stephen Moffat is leaving Doctor Who, so he's being replaced by, I believe it's the guy that is doing Broadchurch, a BBC program over there
because
across the pond.
ex Who is
Yeah.
guys on
So,
Broadchurch.
and then I guess
Tenet.
since Stephen Moffat is once he ends, I guess also Peter Capaldi is leaving as well. So I guess they'll get to start fresh and new, and we'll have a new Doctor, and let the rumors begin that it's going to be a female Doctor. Ugh. So it's out there. It's coming. Another Doctor is on its way, but I don't have a problem with Peter Capaldi. I think he's
when Who started, it was a series of old men.
right. I mean,
Before they had to make him young and sexy.
Oh, well, that's the newer Doctors, 9, 10, and 11, and I guess I lost track. But anyway, so, yeah, Doctor Who going to be revamped, but, I mean, new person coming in, so new Doctor.
Just a quick word, that is me in Spreaker Chat talking as Spaceboy Universe. I think people assume it's you.
Right, because I occasionally have that. I mean,
so
Surlana is the one doing all the chatting during the show through the Spaceboy Universe chat thing.
We got one new person that probably doesn't know.
Okay. Anything else on the plate here? I know I'm looking forward to Last Man on Earth. I like that show. That's going to be pretty exciting. Jonathan Frakes.
Frakes like flakes.
Okay, I always get that mixed up. Apparently, he's going to be doing Lone Star's dad. Not Lone Star.
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord. I was thinking of Spaceballs. But he's going to be his dad in the animated series.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardian of the Galaxy.
Just for those of you who don't know who Jonathan Frakes is, he was Commander Riker on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Set a course for the Brody system. Anyway, so
yeah, he's used to doing animated voiceover work with his work with Gargoyles, the animated series that came on. Was that Disney? Disney Channel, I think that came on.
Right. So, and then before, I guess we, K28, yes, I got to mention, it is the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. So, happy anniversary, Pokemon. I know they're doing a blitz right now out there, and, just be careful when you're throwing your balls around. And Pokemon, that is. So, last thing I want to bring up, and is that I'm going to get into a rant here. You brought up somebody, Raymond Simone, is it?
Yeah.
Yes. She's on The View. And normally I don't do politics when I'm doing a show, but I want to go on a rant here. Basically, she was saying if a Republican is elected president.
See, that's the thing. I don't know if they misquoted her. It says if a Republican gets...
I think it's
nominated or something like. There's going to be a Republican nomination because you have to have a Republican
if
and a Democrat
and
an independent
gets president. Okay, first off,
because that didn't make any sense.
First off,
but that is what the site said.
I'm just going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or who I politically align with. That's not the point of the show. The point that gets my goat here is that. If you make a statement like, well, I'm just going to leave the country and never come back, well, fine, leave. Why do you have to announce that? I mean, come on, people, grow up. Stop acting like children. Just because you don't get your way. People, when Bush was elected, people said, oh, I'm going to leave the country and blah, blah, blah. And then when Barack Obama was elected, people wanted to say they wanted to leave and leave the country. Grow up. Everyone has a right to their opinion, which she does, but, come on. That's just, to me, is childish. You were going to say, Surlana?
I was going to say, that's the one nice thing left about America. You are free to leave.
Mm-hmm. Just don't let the door hit you on the way out. But with that said, I think we'll go ahead and make our first break, and when we come back, we will I guess we'll get Dave Cruz on the line and go from there. So, people, hang in there. We'll be right back.
I'm from another planet. Can you hear me? Answer me. Can you hear me?
Hey, Space Cadets! Want to show your love for the universe? Get your official SBU t-shirt now. Just click the banner on the homepage. Other products are available too. Get yours today.
Hello, Space Cadets. This is Surlana, and I realize you are busy and can't always be there for our live shows. Fortunately, our shows are available on demand on Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Just search for Spaceboy Universe.
Howdy, I'm Spaceboy.
And I'm Surlana.
And we want to tell you about our show right here on KFNX on Saturday nights.
Our show covers history, technology, gaming, pop culture, and fringe science.
So join us on Spaceboy Universe here on KFNX Saturday nights at 8 p.m. And remember, it's Spaceboy's Universe, and you're in it.
This is author Jordan Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Dave Cruz, host of Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
This is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
You've tuned into Spaceboy Universe, and you're probably asking the question, what is Spaceboy Universe about? It's about history. It's about technology. It's about gaming. It's about music. It's about pop culture. It's about fringe science. Spaceboy Universe. Remember, it's Spaceboy's Universe, and you're in it. The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt Pit. Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot.
You're terminated.
Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe. Get your game on Spaceboy Universe. Level up with Spaceboy Universe. No quarters, no problems. Play it at Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, Surlana.
Yeah, Spaceboy?
A lot of people have been asking about T-shirts from the universe.
They have?
Yeah, in fact, they've been, seeing these things pop up here and there, and they've been wondering where to get them.
Well, all you have to do is go to spaceboyuniverse.com, and there is a banner ad right there you can click on, take you right to the store so you can grab a T-shirt for yourself.
Is it just T-shirts?
Well, no, there's more than just T-shirts. You can take a piece of the universe with you on many different kinds of products.
Sounds cool. Go to spaceboyuniverse.com. Hey, Surlana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe.
Spaceboyuniverse.com. Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com. Check out the new podcast, Spaceboy Universe, where we'll talk about a wide range of topics from A to Z. And remember, it's my universe, and
I'm trapped in it.
What?
Spaceboyuniverse.com. up your milk and cereal. It's Spaceboy Universe time! Yay!
Hey, Surlana.
Yeah, Spaceboy?
You know, I've been getting a few calls lately about people that are just not able to catch the live show, and they're wondering about the on-demand show for Spaceboy Universe.
Indeed there is. You can catch our archives on our YouTube channel and on SoundCloud. We're also on a variety of other platforms such as Spreaker, TuneIn, and Stitcher.
Well, that sounds cool.
It is. So check out our archives on any of these websites.
And you can definitely get to these links by going to spaceboyuniverse.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-7015-214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Welcome back. Tonight we're going to talk to Dave Cruz, who is the host of Beyond the Strange, which is a live internet show that airs on Sundays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on their YouTube channel and on the Spreaker app. Beyond the Strange covers everything from paranormal to ufology to cryptozoology, conspiracy theory, and other fringe topics. Beyond the Strange has a unique roundtable format via their Google Hangouts with an emphasis on listeners sharing their stories. Please welcome to the universe, Dave Cruz.
Yay, Dave!
Yay.
Can you hear
How's
us?
it going?
Good.
Yes, how's it going, guys? How you guys doing tonight?
We're doing
Good.
fabulous.
Now, you can, if I got any of that wrong, this is your chance to set us straight.
It's all wrong. No, I'm just kidding. just
and
no,
Les just joined chat.
Oh, what's up, Les? You get a lot more or with less. Just to let you know. Just kidding.
So,
what's up, Gigi?
Yeah, Gigi Rabbit's there, and your friend Casper is there. So
Casper,
all your homies are
Natalie,
in tonight.
The Beyonders are filing into the chat room for you.
Yes. So
hold on, Fran. Okay.
If we would like to get started, we were interested in how you, Dave, got interested in those kinds of topics, and then decided to make a show.
Well, like we were talking previously, growing up, I didn't really do a whole lot of reading as far as reading any of the books like Sitchin or Von Daniken. But what got me interested more in the paranormal before I got into ufology was the fact that my family, being of Hispanic background, would talk a lot about supernatural things that happened back, I guess, in the homeland. And so I tried to investigate those stories with my family when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. And then in the late, I can't remember if it was the mid-'70s or the later 70s, there was a show called In Search Of.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Love that show.
And yes, that was a great show. And Leonard Nimoy,
yes.
You know, what else can you ask for?
Showing our age.
I know. I'm definitely showing my age. But it was one of those shows that just caught my attention like that. I mean, I was totally hooked. And I remember seeing a lot of the paranormal stories on there, and mainly it was the cryptids, like, you know, Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot. When they showed the Patterson Gimlin film of Bigfoot, I was just like, oh my God, that can't be true. I mean, that can't be real, you know. And you know, I actually got to look at it over and over again later on. I found a recording. We didn't talk about this, but I found a recording of that episode, and I just watched it over and over because we had, like, you know, the Betamax when it first came out. Mm-hmm. But it was just one of those amazing things that I grew up with. But In Search Of was one of my big inspirations. And then you got Ripley's Believe It or Not, and then you got That's Incredible.
I remember That's Incredible. Again, showing my age. Fran Tarkenton.
Yes.
Yep, Fran Tarkenton from the Minnesota Vikings. Great quarterback. But yeah, it was those shows that really got me into the fringe, if you want, you know, if you want to label it that.
And so how did you come to decide, well, I like this so much, I want a live talk show?
Yeah, well, didn't quite get there yet. I was growing up, and like I said, growing up, it wasn't really that out of the ordinary, but there was a couple events that happened in my life early on. Like, it was one of the high school parties that I attended, and I know I wasn't that messed up, but there was a bunch of us. It was a New Year's Eve party, I remember, and we were at one of my buddy's house. And we were all on the patio, and I looked up in the sky, and I could have swore I thought it was like a firefly at first. And, other people started looking up, and it's like, what is that? They started like asking questions, and I looked up. Sure enough, this thing was way up in the sky, and it was moving around, zigzagging like a firefly. But we knew it wasn't. We knew it was, at first we thought it was a helicopter, but it wasn't even making any noise. It was really strange. It almost looked like a falling star, but it was falling in every other direction. And I saw it, and they saw it. We were looking at each other. We're like, "Are you guys seeing this?" "Oh yeah, we're seeing it." Next, it zigzagged and boom, straight into the sky, disappeared. We were like, "What? What was that?" Looked into the newspaper the next day, didn't see anything. And it was just one of those things that was unexplained. And I that was my first encounter with a UFO.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. But and that was around when I was like 18, 19 years old. Then I've encountered different paranormal experiences also in my mid-20s, where I actually felt like there was spirits, in the same room as me. I don't know about spirits or what spiritual activity, I guess you could say that. And it was one time where I was actually napping, where I felt like I was being nudged by something, and I know I wasn't, all the way asleep. I know I wasn't dreaming, because this nudging like woke me up. And when I woke up, I got up, and I didn't see anything there, but later on, I found out that the building that I was in, napping in, it was supposedly haunted, and it was so it was really one of those things. But anyways, getting back to your question, Surlana, I really didn't think about doing a show until basically last year, and the way Beyond the Strange started was I went on to Blog Talk Radio, and I just created an account, and I wanted to do a rant because I was so angry at all of the chemtrails that's been going on lately. And people can, and we just had an episode last week about the chemtrails. I mean, people can deny it all they want. I mean, they're not going to look up because they're looking at their smartphones. But it's only obvious that there's something in our skies that shouldn't be there.
I saw something today, and I asked Spaceboy here. I said, "Look over there." I said, "Is that a chemtrail?" And he said, "No, dear."
Well, it's really, it is hard. I mean, sometimes it is hard to distinguish what's a contrail, what's a chemtrail.
Well, it was a streak that it looked like it had dissipated and gotten wider, and it was by itself. So I just wondered.
Well, Dave, we're coming up to the hard break at the bottom of the hour, and but it's going to be interesting when we come back and talk a little bit more about your experiences, and we want to hear more. So just stay right there. So you're listening to Spaceboy Universe, and you're tuned in to KFNX 1100 Independent Talk, Cave Creek, Phoenix. Don't go anywhere. Hey, Space Cadets! Want to show your love for the universe? Get your official SBU t-shirt now. Just click the banner on the homepage. Other products are available too. Get yours today.
Hello, Space Cadets. This is Surlana, and I realize you are busy and can't always be there for our live show. Fortunately, our shows are available on demand on Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Just search for Spaceboy Universe.
This is author Jordan Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe. Rock on, Spaceboy.
Hey there, this is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Elisha, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeMille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt Pit. Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot. You're terminated. Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, Surlana.
Yeah, Spaceboy?
A lot of people have been asking about t-shirts from the universe.
They have?
Yeah, in fact, they've been, seeing these things pop up here and there, and they've been wondering where to get them.
Well, all you have to do is go to spaceboyuniverse.com, and there is a banner ad right there you can click on, take you right to the store so you can grab a t-shirt for yourself.
Is it just t-shirts?
Well, no, there's more than just t-shirts. You can take a piece of the universe with you on many different kinds of products.
Sounds cool. Go to spaceboyuniverse.com. Hey, Surlana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe?
Spaceboyuniverse.com. Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com. Hey, Surlana.
Yeah, Spaceboy?
I've been getting a few calls lately about people that are just not able to catch the live show, and they're wondering about the on-demand show for Spaceboy Universe.
Indeed there is. You can catch our archives on our YouTube channel and on SoundCloud. We're also on a variety of other platforms such as Spreaker, TuneIn, and Stitcher.
Well, that sounds cool.
It is. So check out our archives on any of these websites.
And you can definitely get to these links by going to spaceboyuniverse.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Tonight, Dave Cruz is with us, and before the break, he was talking about some of his experience in his early years. So, Dave, did you want to pick up right there?
Yeah, sure. That sounds good. So, after the ghost encounters, if you will, growing up a little bit more, I didn't really get into anything else paranormal or out of the ordinary until recently. Last year was probably around April or May, and I remember calling in. It was a Fader night. I talked about this.
What is this? What is this Fader night you speak of?
For all of those who don't know, it's a show called Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, our captain. And so he has a show on Thursday nights. It's Fader night where all the Fadernauts get to call in. And yay, Fadernauts.
That sounds like really a cool name. I wonder who.
I know. I wonder where it came from. And hint. But anyways, so there was an experience that I had, and it happened on a weekend where we're with a bunch of family, and me and a family member were leaving to the store. Well, I noticed in the sky there was like about 10 to 15 red dots just floating in the air, and it was crazy. It was just like, what is that? And we came back to the barbecue we were having, and by then there was already people outside the street, from the neighbor's house. Some were even outside their cars, stopped in the middle of the street. And when I looked up, there was even more of these lights, and it was so strange, for a better, lack of a better word. But it was so bizarre, and I remember my daughter was getting scared because she thought we were being invaded, and it was just seriously, it was kind of scary.
I don't mean to laugh because
no, I know.
Solana could tell you stories about me freaking out because
it was funny.
Yeah.
He freaks out at things, and I'm like, would you just calm down?
Yeah, I totally understand, and I was trying to comfort my daughter, and I was telling her, hey, you know what, it's all right, if it is aliens, they're not really coming down like really fast or anything. I was just trying to explain, so she'd feel better. But in my mind, I'm thinking the same thing. Oh my God, we might be being invaded. What am I going to do? But it was just one of those experiences. But all of a sudden, they just started disappearing, and a light, it looked like a helicopter almost. It kind of came into the middle of all those lights, and it was moving around, and then that's when the lights just suddenly disappeared, and then that light also disappeared. It was a white bright light, and that one disappeared, and everything just was gone.
So it sounds like to me, okay, you've had a paranormal encounter, you've had that unexplained objects encounter, and for what we were doing the pre-interview, you've had another more recent one. And so does it seem like maybe you attract these events, or you're some kind of lightning rod for weird, or what do you think?
I think that a big part of my life, I ask myself, what am I supposed to do? What am I here for? Why am I on this earth? Why am I on this planet? And I'm starting to believe that I might just be a person that is getting these experiences and events that are happening to to me, that I need to share with people. And going back to that first episode on Blog Talk Radio, I felt like it was time that I need to do something. I need to say something, the first time was on Jimmy's show, and I talked about it, and it was cray. It was nuts. And then I said, I got to do something else. I have to, because I got fed up with the chemtrails. I did a 30-minute rant just talking about chemtrails, just going off, Then the next week, I talked about prepping. The next week I start, and it just started coming to me. Like, there's so many things that needs to be talked about and discussed with other people. And I thought about Fader Night, and I thought to myself, these people have stories. I mean, we're used to hearing about Richard Dolan, listening to LMH and all these people that
they're
are
good. We like hearing them.
They're awesome. They've got books, they got documentaries, they got film. But to me, I really loved hearing the people out there who aren't, the George Tsukaloses, who aren't, the people who are on the TV or who have the big shows like, Coast to Coast or something like that. That need to be really, they need a
They need a spotlight put on them.
Exactly. They really need someone to be able to get their story out.
And that's what you emphasize, that your show Beyond the Strange is for the listener. You want to hear other people's story too, while getting the word about your experiences and things that people need to wake up to. That's a nice, unique thing about your show.
That's what I try. I really try to do that. And I'll tell you, it's been a journey, and it's been a short one, but it's been a journey. And the people I've been meeting along the way, it's just been awesome. I mean, they've been wonderful. And, of course, we have our friends like, Les and Gigi and Rick and Brian. I mean, I can go on.
I agree with you, except I don't know who this Les and Rick are.
Oh,
anyway.
That Les guy, I swear.
Yes. So do you have a favorite moment from your show so far, or a favorite topic, or one night where discussion was just great, or you learned something?
Well, it's funny. I think a lot of the shows that we've done are just amazing to me. Each one of them is. I feel like it's my baby. My child. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I'm thinking you guys can understand because you guys have.
Spaceboy can understand. This is his baby. I'm just sort of held hostage in it.
Oh, come on. Anyways, we tune in to hear you too, Surlana. But there is a couple that stand out, and the one that just keeps popping up in my head is the story of an abductee called. His name was Byron Lacey, and he has a book. I'm sorry.
We listened that night.
Oh, good. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, and he was just we've had him on twice, but and that's what I mean is that's how amazing his story was. I'm like, man, we got to have him back. There were so many other questions that we didn't get to ask him the first time, and it's just he's just one of those people that I've been keeping in touch with him also on Facebook. His book is doing good, and it's getting great reviews, and this has been happening to him all his life, and no one has ever heard of him up until recently, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, we heard he said it had happened when he was a kid.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. His whole life.
His story was kind of spooky early on.
And it's funny because the guests that we get, it's almost like they're thrown into my lap. It's a synchronicity, is what it is, because there's a lot of weird people out there.
No.
And this is something that I'm starting to learn. And please, if anyone's listening, please don't be offended. I'm not saying your word, because I'm just as bad. But it's like to bring someone on to a show, and you don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's like you talk to them, you did a mic check, whatever, but you don't know what's going to happen once you go live. And so far, it's been amazing. I mean, knock on wood, of course, but it's just been amazing. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we've had I think recently with us when we did our dream cognition episode, that was like we did not know. I mean, we had some conversations with Patrick, but the man was just so fascinating to listen to, and I think Surlana and I were just like, okay, we are.
The pre-interview went on.
We should
almost
talk
2 hours.
and ask more questions.
Mm-hmm.
But he was just that's a good an example on our part that you never know where it's going to go. And I think you kind of worry that, okay, am I going to get this guy? Is he going to be able to fill time or whatever? But so you kind of worry in that aspect. But in your situation, Byron, I mean, it just sounded like he was just a wealth of information, and
oh my God,
and you've had him back, a second time. So I mean, that's a great guest to have on a show.
Yeah, and again, anytime he wants to come on, I have no problem with him coming on. It's I can almost listen to him every week. That's how big of an impact he left on me. But yes, Byron's story was one of the stories that just stuck with me, because now that I think about it, and this is more recent, I've never had any kind of feeling like I was abducted or bad dreams about anything. But I'll tell you what, when I look at like an alien gray and I see those big black eyes, I freak out. it's just, not there's not a lot of things out there really that can make me turn my head.
Mm-hmm.
But when I see an alien gray, it freaks me out.
It's interesting you bring that up, Dave.
You were freaked out too.
Well, as a kid, and I think I've mentioned this before to Surlana, is that because I was reading UFO books when I was back in the 70s, and then the Travis Walton story came out, and then there was I guess a description of one of the aliens drawn by him, and when I saw that picture, I went into a panic attack. It literally, it left me breathless and paranoid, and that's a 7-year-old kid experiencing that just by looking at the picture. And I know what you mean by when you look at those black eyes, it's like, I hate to use the term emptiness, but it's like an abyss that goes on forever. And so I can relate to what you're saying as far as, when you see that, it's overwhelming, to say the least.
That and the black-eyed children.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, those, yeah.
Freaky little children of the damned.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So, during the pre-interview, you brought up a few things that were really interesting, and you were gracious enough to explain to poor little ignorant me about Santeria, which I found really fascinating, because I asked you, hey, Dave, did you see Breaking Bad? What was it about the guys crawling on their, down on the ground to get to this shrine? And you were telling me about the I guess it's a religion, Santeria.
Right, and again, it that's what I got from that episode. I didn't really go back and look or listen to like the behind the scenes or anything like that, but what I got out of that was we were talking about the twins or the two brothers, and what they did was they basically was like giving respect to this thing that they believed in, this I don't want to say religion, but maybe even an entity that they basically crawled on. They were crawling, and it's amazing how they did that scene, because I totally understood what they were doing. And yes, Santeria, basically it's more of a Hispanic belief. It can be considered a religion. It is mainly from the Catholic saints. It's also known in the Haitian, the Haitian community. But basically and Santeria means honor of the saints or way of the saints.
Okay.
And also known as La Regla de Luquima. And but it's more of a voodoo-based religion that's from Africa. And voodoo in African means moral fiber.
I did not know that.
There's other Christian influences in Santeria, of course. Again, it's mainly Catholicism. You have the idol worship. You have the tribute or the offerings that people leave at the statues, and that sort of thing.
Well, now I
also
wonder what the guys were doing in that scene. Were they going to ask the Santeria for to make sure their mission was successful, or?
I think they were looking for a blessing. And
it didn't work out for them.
It didn't work out. It didn't work out. So Heisenberg was a lot more powerful at the end of that one.
Heisenberg's brother-in-law got one of them, didn't he?
Yeah, Ran. I guess.
Can't remember his name. The cop, a detective dude. Yeah.
Hank.
Yeah, Hank.
Can't remember his name. Anyway, another thing you said you were willing to talk about, and I want to hear your opinion. You said you could give us your opinion about those guys. Is it on the Travel Channel? Ghost Adventurers? Or...
Oh, I don't want to name names.
No? Okay. No?
But, I don't really want to...
That's fine.
I don't want to pick out any particular
Well, you were saying that...
show.
you were saying that in order to experience something, you don't have to have high-tech equipment. It's just...
I don't think you do. I really don't. I don't think that you need all the ghost gadgets, the meters, all the electronic equipment, cameras, and that kind of thing. I mean, honestly, when I did my investigation with Nancy Nurse, and we went to a building that was haunted, it was like when you walk in, and again, I don't know if this is because of me personally, being able to feel this kind of presence or anything, but I felt it right away. And when we went to the second floor, that's where I got a blast of like spiritual energy. I just felt this weird feeling coming over me. I felt sick, basically. And I went to one side of the room, and I didn't feel as bad. When I went to the other side of the room, I started feeling almost like my chest was getting tight, like it was getting heavy. And I didn't really show a whole lot to Nancy, but it was weird because Nancy looked up and she's like, they're right there, right next to you. And I'm like, well, that's interesting because I really feel it, And supposedly that person had passed away from a heart attack.
Oh, so you might have been experiencing what that person was experiencing or had experienced.
I think they were trying to share that. I don't think they were trying to hurt me, because one of the things that Nancy had told me was to let yourself get grounded. Picture this, light coming in and just coming through you, kind of like electricity, like you're just being grounded, and just let it go. Pretty much frozen, of course. No, just kidding. But just let the feeling go. Just be calm. And eventually, it really just started to dissipate. It started feeling a lot better. I started feeling a lot better, but I knew there was something there. And at first I thought it was just one spirit, but it turned out that there was children involved. There was spiritual children. There was a man and wife. They had lived in this house. The house was brought to this particular place or spot in the town from another location. It was way out in the boonies, and it's an old house. It was like late 1800s, early 1900s. So it's pretty Victorian looking. Mm-hmm. I took pictures. It's on the Beyond the Strange Facebook page. Sorry, not trying to plug it in. I'm just trying to describe.
David,
that's okay.
It's right. We're plugging you, man.
You'll get a whole plug-in.
Seriously. But the pictures that I took, some of those pictures showed orbs. Mm-hmm. And it just goes back to what I was saying. You don't need all the special heavy equipment like some of these shows have on TV. But, if it helps you out, then I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying, if there's something there, you're going to feel it. You're going to know it.
So that brings up a good, interesting point that I'd like to get your take on this. Is that in our conversations that we've had with a previous guest, he's described that sometimes places have a latent image of it, or a recorded image, if you will, of the past. What say you about that?
I haven't experienced that. I know what you're talking about, and I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. That I've also heard that it's possible that these entities are from a different dimension, mm-hmm. or even maybe a time loop of some sort, and that it's just the energy that's left from the actual physical being. Honestly, I'm not trying to sound like an expert, because I am by no means any kind of expert, but I will say, from some of the people I've talked to and some of the things I've heard and I've researched, In my opinion, I definitely believe that there are spirits, and that there is an afterlife, that there is something after we pass on, and that makes me feel better, in a sense.
Okay, well, I would like to think that there is something for us, and it would only make sense. What is it, that movie, 29 Grams, where they weighed the body before death and then after death? There was a 29 grams difference of the weight of the body, and so, it would make sense that the energy that we have would go somewhere. And Surlana's looking at me squirrely like.
Well, I mean, not to poo-poo your nice sentiment there, but how soon after did they weigh the body?
Look, I'm not the scientist in this
because
situation.
Stuff will come out of the body naturally.
Well,
like
your body, yes,
whatnot,
that is true.
And it will dry out.
I think they were weighing. It could have been they were weighing the brain, and if anybody's out there listening right now and has access to
shrinkage,
the interweb. Well, I'm just reporting what the facts. See, this is what I have to deal with, Dave. She is a shrewd, she should have been a lawyer, to be honest with you.
So boring. That seems boring to me personally. I'm not saying lawyer.
Better call Surlana instead of Better Call Saul.
Oh yeah, good show.
It is a great show, isn't it?
He's not boring.
Yeah.
He is. Well, you aren't either, but that is an awesome show. I mean, wasn't out of all the people from Breaking Bad. You'd think they'd make one about Pinkman
or Mike.
Or Mike.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Mike's on Better Call Saul, but
he is kind of getting his stories told there, and
his backstory is coming out.
It's like interesting concept. How do you tell a story of a guy that you already know how it ends?
And they're doing it.
And that's same with Mike. And so, here's all this backstory, and it's just like, and you're just as into it as you were with, I don't know if everybody, but with Breaking Bad. But I actually kind of like this show better.
Yes,
because it's got more. It's got more dark humor. It's got you're rooting for the underdog, but you're like, I shouldn't be rooting for him because he's not very moral and ethical, but who of us are really?
Yep, absolutely. I dig the show so much. Not only are we seeing cameos from the previous show, but we're seeing new characters. I can't remember the guy with the glasses. He had the yellow Hummer.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
That guy.
I can't think of the character's name.
But the baseball cards. Yeah, Hoboken. Mr. Baseball cards.
I love it.
That was.
He's he's more stupid than we thought.
Yeah, and I'm sorry if I'm turning this into a talking Saul.
It's all filler,
It's such a good show, and I think people really need to watch it.
What we can say is that we like good stories. And you like good stories, and that's why you have a show, you want to hear people's stories. So this shows how receptive you are to stories. True stories, not so true stories, And
the Spaceboy universe it deals with different topics. So, I mean, pop culture is one of those topics that we dive into. So, we could be talking about, a topic that we set out with a particular guest. So it's a no holds bar situation. So you bring Saul up, hey, that's it. You might have heard the intro, something we said in our opening banter talk, and then say, hey, that reminds me of this. That's the whole purpose is to.
But we have deep intellectual discussions about things like Better Call Saul. Like we try to get.
Oh, I could pick it apart.
And
absolutely,
I'll go to websites where that discuss it, like in forums and all that stuff. So, is it time to go to a break?
We have another break here. This is the top of the hour. So, Dave, if you need to take care of business, go ahead and do that. Now's the time. So, we're talking with Dave Cruz of Beyond the Strange. And when we would come back, we'll talk more Dave Cruz. So, sit right there. You're listening to KFNX 1100 Independent Talk, Cave Creek, Phoenix, and this is Spaceboy Universe. All right, Dave, we're on a mute situation.
Awesome. I'll be right back.
All right, go ahead. Hey, Space Cadets. Want to show your love for the universe? Get your official SPU t-shirt now. Just click the banner on the homepage. Other products are available too. Get yours today. Yes, the secret buyers too.
Hello, Space Cadets. This is Surlana, and I realize you are busy and can't always be there for our live show. Fortunately, our shows are available on demand on Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Just search for Spaceboy Universe.
This is author Jordan Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to
You want to go get
Spaceboy
something after this?
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe. Rock on, Spaceboy.
Hey there, this is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Elisha, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt. It's Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot. You're terminated. Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SPU production. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe. Get your game on Spaceboy Universe. Level up with Spaceboy Universe. No quarters, no problems. Play it at Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, Surlana.
Yeah, Spaceboy?
A lot of people have been asking about t-shirts from the universe.
They have?
Yeah, in fact, they've been, seeing these things pop up here and there, and they've been wondering where to get them.
Well, all you have to do is go to spaceboyuniverse.com, and there is a banner ad right there you can click on, take you right to the store so you can grab a t-shirt for yourself.
Is it just t-shirts?
Well, no, there's more than just t-shirts. You can take a piece of the universe with you on many different kinds of products.
Sounds cool. Go to spaceboyuniverse.com. Hey, Surlana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe.
Spaceboyuniverse.com. Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com. Check out the new podcast, Spaceboy Universe, where we'll talk about a wide range of topics from A to Z. And remember, it's my universe and
I'm trapped in it.
What?
SpaceboyUniverse.com.
Hey kids, grab your milk and cereal. It's Spaceboy Universe time. Yay!
Hey, Surlana.
Yeah, Spaceboy?
I've been getting a few calls lately about people that are just not able to catch the live show, and they're wondering about the on-demand show for Spaceboy Universe.
Indeed there is. You can catch our archives on our YouTube channel and on SoundCloud. We're also on a variety of other platforms such as Spreaker, TuneIn, and Stitcher.
Well, that sounds cool.
It is. So check out our archives on any of these websites.
And you can definitely get to these links by going to spaceboyuniverse.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Dead air.
Dead air. All
We're not
right.
talking.
Hey, everybody, we're back.
Hear the things you're not supposed to hear, and then you don't hear the things you're supposed to hear.
Okay, so Dave.
It's because
is
Dave
back.
has got the strangeness.
Like I said, it's a strange night, and Dave's here with us. We're back. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, and on the KFNX 1100 Independent Talk, Cave Creek, Phoenix. Now I've got all that back out of the way. Dave was about to talk about conspiracy theories. I guess Surlana had just asked about how what his interest is and all that good stuff, and referring back to one of Dave's shows where he was talking about the Black Knight and the Pepsi commercial. And I guess let's pick it up there, Dave. Now that we are on the air again.
Again.
Sorry about that,
awesome.
Dave.
No. That's great. I think that the Black Knight was one of those shows. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I heard Dead Air at that time. I'm not used to that, but because we have the panel show and everyone seems to just talk. But I'm glad you guys called in that night, because that was another memorable show that we had about the Black Knight, and it wasn't so much really the Black Knight itself that it was the fact that the way they put it out there. Anyone could say it was a marketing strategy, and of course that makes sense, but you and here goes the conspiracy mind, talking. The way it was done, it seemed like it was more like it was going towards disclosure.
It was odd.
It was very odd, and a lot of things just come to mind. Of course, the NWO, the Illuminati.
Yeah, that was my thinking.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that Pepsi brought it to our attention, again, it was like that's how I could picture disclosure happening. That someone by chance gets the information, and so, I don't know how he can outrun all those government vehicles and stuff, but he puts it out there and he shares it with the world, and the whole world just learns about the Black Knight
and just accepts it.
And accepts it, and peace, love, and happiness, of course.
They drank the Pepsi. That's why
they drank the Pepsi.
That's the modern day version of drinking the Kool-Aid. Is you're
drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
But like you said, the weird thing about it is why the Black Knight? Because I don't know, Dave. Do you think the Black Knight phenomenon is well known? That well known?
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is.
And honestly. And this can go back to watching the X-File days. I don't even remember an episode of Black Knight being on X-Files. And they cover just about everything. And recently I just started hearing about the Black Knight. I'm sure it's been going on for a while, but it's one of those stories that to me, we don't know enough about, of course. We know that Tesla learned about the radio signals back in his day, and so on and so on. So it goes way back there. But when we brought the story, out in the show, it was more like we wanted to know what was the deal, what was Pepsi's deal, and who really thought of that to bring it out and to make it into like a disclosure type presentation.
Well, see, that's why I asked you, did you think it was well known? Because I was like, okay, so they're doing the Black Knight. Well, does anybody even know about that? So they're probably going to think, okay, Pepsi made up this weird alien craft and is doing this thing about coming together in the spirit of, humanity to talk to our new weird space saviors or whoever up there. And I was like, what is the end game of this? It can't be to promote Pepsi, to drink Pepsi. It's because I don't see the connection there. It's just weirdness. Like, why would they do this? It's just, I don't know.
And the interesting thing about that is that, again, you don't know much about this topic, especially the Black Knight, but it takes a pop culture. Spaceboy would, you understand that it takes a pop culture to actually bring this out, so people can be like, oh, okay, and then they run with it.
But that leads into. I mean, what do you feel about? When we've dealt with subject matters like this, whether it be, the black-eyed children, or whether it be the alien phenomenon, this black satellite. How do you feel about it when commercialism takes a hold of something like that, or just somebody makes fun of it in general? Like, for example, when I guess wasn't it the governor when it was dealing with the lights over Phoenix, and he made a mockery of the situation and brought in the fake alien head guy in, and everybody kind of got a chuckle out of that. And I know later on he kind of like felt bad about it, but still, I mean, how do you feel about those kind of situations where
you're making such fun of it?
Kind of making fun of, in light of the situation, when there are actual people, abductees, if you will, who experienced something real that had happened to them, and yet they get made in light of.
In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, and I'll say that at the beginning of my show all the time, because it's true. It's it's my view, it's my opinion. It's the show's data, or whatever you want to call it, information that we bring it to the listener. You make your final conclusion. Do your own research. Check it out for yourself. Don't take our word for it. But it seems like with this, especially this governor who basically dressed up as an alien and trotted around and whatever after the Phoenix Lights, it almost seems like it was disinfo. I mean, it has, and again, maybe that was the other end game or point that Pepsi was trying to point out is, it's just a myth. It's not real. We're just using it to market our product. And I feel that whoever it is, the 1% or whatever you want to call them, NW, New World Order, Illuminati, they're really trying hard to disinfo a lot of the phenomena that we've been learning about over the years.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because so you got the Pepsi Corporation, and that's why I called in that night, and they own Taco Bell, and supposedly Taco Bell's logo's got the 6 in it, and the 666 connection, and it's all part of the Illuminati thing.
And it looks like an eye.
And it looks like a reptilian eye, and these are reptilian people in the Black Knight, and they're trying to subtly get us ready and put it in our conscience, our active consciousness.
Well, I was going to say real quick that I'm kind of tired of this. You're not ready to experience or know what's beyond the earth, and this I'm tired of being told that I'm not going to be able to handle it.
Like the Vulcans told humanity after First Contact in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that but us.
No, well, that's and you're right. I mean, it is. There's really no way for us to know about this type of information until someone brings it forward, like the Van Danikens of his time, even Tsoukalos. And getting back to pop culture, did you see the Super Bowl commercial?
Which one are we talking about?
Taco Bell.
No, because we don't have cable.
Well, I've reviewed some of the Super Bowl ads. Which one was this one?
This was the one where everyone was talking about the new chalupa, or I can't remember.
The quesalupa thing?
Quesalupa, there you go. And it was it was like people were saying it's bigger than this, bigger than that, and of course it's bigger than aliens.
Exactly.
And you have George Tsoukalos.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kind of sneaking that in. That was it was kind of entertaining, to watch that. Now that I think about it, and but once again, putting because Sucralose has definitely now become a pop culture icon in the sense of because of Ancient Aliens. And just like Leonard Nimoy of his time with In Search Of, and I mean, granted he was Star Trek, but so it makes sense that he would. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things I have mixed feelings about. Again, you know what I'm saying? Once again, you're promoting a product, and I mean, but I just have mixed feelings about that. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks,
exactly
Dave.
what you mean.
I was having warm fuzzies for sucralose, and then all of a sudden.
I'm sorry. I know, I don't mean to. I don't mean to put anyone down. I mean, actually, I think kudos to sucralose for getting out there more in the mainstream.
Yeah,
you know, and
kudos for entertaining us. You know.
Right. Absolutely. You know.
But do you feel like that's all well and good and cute and fun, but is it time for people just to put up or shut up? Like, just come out, tell us what you really mean, and just get it over with. You know,
right? Like Queen Elizabeth's an alien, reptilian.
Or she's a reptilian lizard.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great. I can go on with my day. I mean,
well,
that's how I'm coming from.
Trust me, I love listening to David Icke, and I've had this conversation with lots of people. That's the thing is you kind of have to take some things with a grain of salt, and I think people who have a good a good amount of discernment can feel whether it's not really the truth or it's a bunch of BS,
right?
And I don't know, it's again it's just the way I look at things. It's the way I take things. I mean, I could be wrong about a lot of things, but I know that there is a lot of stuff out there that's unexplained,
right? And it's kind of like going back to your thought earlier. One of my favorite authors is Jim Marrs. And every discussion that I've heard when he's been interviewed, at the very end is basically what he's saying is that, don't take my word for it. Go out there and research it and find the truth for yourself. I mean, and no truer words can be spoken. I mean, so it's like, don't take anything for face value when you see things. I often question things. Why am I being shown this? Why am I being told this? I don't want to be the sheep that just accepts the status quo.
And then you have me to question you.
Yeah, and I get, after I've questioned and she's questioning me, so it usually keeps me in check. So I always feel like don't accept something for face value because what you're looking at could be something totally different. And the thing is to search for that truth.
Yep, I totally agree with that. And that again, that's where I go back and I ask the listeners, please do your own research. Go and find the truth,
From
that's
multiple
one of the
sources, please.
Anything you can find, anything, sort through it, look through it, and, come up with your own conclusion.
All right. Well, here's another topic you said you want to talk about that I have not had time to really research, and so maybe you could tell me if I need to be disturbed about it or not. I'm talking about the Zika virus. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right.
The Zika virus.
Yes.
Yep. We've heard this again on different shows. You don't hear. We are starting to hear it now more in the mainstream media.
Yeah.
One of the things that we're told is the mainstream media loves to do fear porn. They love to just talk about all the bad that's out there, so that we can get into a frenzy, so we can have all the negative energy come out. And again, conspiracy theorists believe that some of these entities that are living on our planet, who are trying to take over, feed on this kind of energy.
Yeah, I've heard that theory before. The more negativity and fear and disturbance out there, it feeds this. I don't know. Let's say there's like that energy field around the Earth, and they can power up.
That just reminded me of the loosh.
Right. There you go.
I'm talking about, yeah.
Can you explain that to me? I don't know what you're saying.
Allison could talk about it better than me, but and I wish she was around to ask. But yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about, Spaceboy.
Yeah, it's about the alien, reptilians can feed off this negative energy that comes from humans,
I've heard,
and they call it the loosh.
We were listening to an episode of You Know Who, and somebody was talking about that.
Right. Yeah. So another interesting story.
We'll probably see it here at Spreaker here in a second.
Yeah.
I'm sure somebody will come up and and start talking about it. But
so you think the Zika thing is they're getting us all hopped up the way they did with H1N1 and
the flu,
the other flus,
Ebola, swine
that
flu.
That one fell flat though, Ebola.
It's really it wasn't that interesting. It just came and went. It was something that we saw, and it just went right out the door, and then you don't hear anything about it. The CDC was brought in, the WHO was brought in, World Health Organization.
They got the WHO, and they played,
they got the WHO,
Teenage Wasteland, and everybody
exactly. There you go. But it left just as fast as it came. It was gone, and I don't know
they
the
couldn't
Zika
make
virus.
Anything out of it, I guess.
Well, here's my thing, and I don't want to really be near people who are sick, and have this kind of this type of disease
I don't want to be around people who are regular sick either.
Exactly, you know what I'm talking about. But I am one of those people that needs to kind of see something before I actually believe it when it comes to things like this. And I was going to bring this up to you tonight anyway, Surlana, is about the Zika virus. Now they're saying that there are 9 cases of Zika virus that are linked to pregnancies, a couple of abortions, and 2 miscarriages, and 1 baby with severe microcephaly. Don't ask me what that means.
Microcephaly? Is that the water on the brain thing?
Well, there you go. See, I had no idea what that was.
Because we watched Venture Brothers.
That's awesome. I need to get back into that because I kind of watched the first season.
Not to make light of hydrocephaly or microcephaly, but that's how I know.
Billy Quizboy.
Billy the Quizboy has it.
Yeah, I'd leave it to the Venture Brothers to come up with all the information we need. Mm-hmm. But there is, there's starting to be more and more cases of this. And my thing is I haven't met anyone with Zika virus. I don't know of anybody who knows of somebody who knows of somebody who knows of somebody who got the Zika virus. Does that make sense?
Well, where was it supposed to have originated, or do they know?
I believe it came out of Puerto Rico from mosquitoes. Mosquitoes. It was carried by mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes, a scourge of man.
And I'm not. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not trying to, put. I don't want to say anything bad about any country, but it seems like it was more from out of the United States.
Well, it just goes back to what I was saying, Dave, is that whenever something like this comes up, I immediately ask, why am I being bombarded with this? What's the
end game?
What's the end game? Who's playing this game? Who's going to benefit from this? What is it going to, because in this day and age,
gosh, we're cynical.
Well, it's hard to trust the government, period.
Oh, no, you shouldn't trust anybody.
And so
in the media especially.
That's why I always ask, okay, what is the end game? It's a trust issue. You have to ask the question, why or how? Who's doing this? Where is this coming from? I mean, is it being blown out of proportion? Is it a zombie outbreak or kind of? It's crazy questions that it needs to be asked, because when you accept it for face value, you're just going to be just like the rest of the sheep.
Absolutely. It's interesting. Last week, I was on a field trip with my daughter's school. They paid for. It was an amazing trip. They actually paid for this trip. We went to Los Angeles and we spent the whole week there. We went to UCLA. We got a tour of the college. We went to Universal Studios.
Ooh.
And we went to. Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome. We stayed at the Embassy Suites. Everything paid. Dinner, everything, breakfast. It was amazing. And one of the places that we went to, which was one of the most powerful places I've ever been to, it's called the Museum of Tolerance. And it's in Los Angeles. It's near Beverly Hills. But I'm telling you guys, learning about the Holocaust in school, that was bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You go to this museum, and I swear it's almost like it was like a virtual tour. I mean, they had like a replica of the gas chamber,
mm-hmm.
where there's two doors. The young and the elderly go through one, and the able go through another, and it leads to the same place, the gas chamber. And the thing about it is these people were being told by their government that you need to do this. And the most important thing that I got out of this is that history tends to repeat itself. And I'm not saying that this is going to happen in our country, but there's a lot of stuff that makes you say, what is going on? And why isn't our government doing things, certain things about what's happening?
I think they're doing things, but not the things we want them to do.
Well, yeah, that's true.
The wrong things.
But the wrong things. But and again, it's possible. It could be possible. Do they want us to be more dependent on them?
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when they keep trying to bury history, like I've heard them do with rewriting textbooks and taking down memorials and statues. Like, that's going to wipe it from our minds, and we're not going to remember what we've done in the past. So when we see it again, we won't be, I guess, questioning it.
Mm-hmm. And again, just like the term that we just heard, sheep or sheeple,
mm-hmm.
they were led to the slaughter. Because it wasn't so much that they could do anything about it. I mean, the SS pretty much rounded everyone up and had them, do those horrible things. But at some point, they were, that wasn't the case. They were trusting the government. They were trusting the people that were telling them because, they sounded so good. And that's one of the things that we really need to question. What is, like you said, Spaceboy, what's the end game?
That is it. What is the end game? Well, we're about to take another break here, Dave, so take a relaxer. You're listening to KFNX, 1100 Independent Talk in Cave Creek, Phoenix. And I'm Spaceboy, and this is Spaceboy's Universe. Stay right there. Hey, Space Cadets! Want to show your love for the universe? Get your official SBU t-shirt now. Just click the banner on the homepage. Other products are available too. Get yours today.
Hello, Space Cadets. This is Surlana, and I realize you are busy and can't always be there for our live show. Fortunately, our shows are available on demand on Spreaker, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, and TuneIn. Just search for Spaceboy Universe.
This is author Gordon Root. You are listening to the Spaceboy Universe.
This is K28, and I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hi, y'all. This is Lori calling from Texas, and I love listening to Spaceboy Universe. Rock on, Spaceboy.
Hey there, this is Wendy. I'm listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, this is Elisha, and you're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, y'all. This is Lorelai DeLille. I listen to Spaceboy Universe. Don't you? Tell your mom and them I said hi.
The epic battle begins this Friday. Direct from ringside at Laser Death Melt. It's Bot versus Bot in Galaxy's 2-ton weight championship, where your challenger, Good Bot, will face the reigning champion, Bad Bot. You're terminated. Reserve seating starting at $30. 2-drink minimum, where ladies don't get in free. This is an SBU production. You're listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Hey, Surlana.
Yeah, Spaceboy?
A lot of people have been asking about T-shirts from the universe.
They have?
Yeah, in fact, they've been, seeing these things pop up here and there, and they've been wondering where to get them.
Well, all you have to do is go to spaceboyuniverse.com, and there is a banner ad right there you can click on, take you right to the store so you can grab a T-shirt for yourself.
Is it just T-shirts?
Well, no, there's more than just T-shirts. You can take a piece of the universe with you on many different kinds of products.
Sounds cool. Go to spaceboyuniverse.com. Hey, Surlana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe?
Spaceboyuniverse.com. Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com. Hey, Surlana.
Yeah, Spaceboy?
I've been getting a few calls lately about people that are just not able to catch the live show, and they're wondering about the on-demand show for Spaceboy Universe.
Indeed there is. You can catch our archives on our YouTube channel and on SoundCloud. We're also on a variety of other platforms such as Spreaker, TuneIn, and Stitcher.
Well, that sounds cool.
It is. So check out our archives on any of these websites.
And you can definitely get to these links by going to spaceboyuniverse.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-7015-214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Surlana.
Oh, that's well. Okay. Hey, we're back. I figured out what happened last time. Why
you seem surprised by that.
Yeah, I was very surprised. Every time I'm dealing with the board here, I'm multitasking. Is quite the adventure. I'm sure you can understand that, Dave. You probably have to wear several hats during your show when you're doing your show, right?
Absolutely. It never gets old.
There's a question. There's a question in Spreaker for Dave.
Oh, shoot.
I don't know if you see that, Dave. Dave, have you been back to the Lawler house?
Mr. K28, man, what's up, brother? And you know what? I have to say thank you very much for loving my Darth Vader UCLA Bruins hat. I go everywhere with it. Thank you very much. This is the Vader hat. That's right. Yeah, the Lawler house. Yeah, Fran, it's in Sassoon. And that's exactly the building I was talking about earlier that Nancy and I did the investigation in. Kay, to answer your question, I have not been back there, and I plan on going back there again, perhaps with Nancy. Also, there is a gentleman by the name of Paul Dale Roberts, who is also an investigator. He has a team. He does investigations all over Northern California. We've had him on the show before, and he's very interested in investigating the building as well. So I'm sure there's going to be some show coming up in the future. I'm not sure if it's in their future, but I'm sure we'll have a follow-up to that.
What is the Lawler house? Is that
the Lawler house? That was the building I was talking about.
Oh, that's where you were going to have the activity?
Yes, the Nancy Nurse and I had done the investigation.
Hey, just want to put out there, Space Cadets, if you want to call in and talk to Dave, the number is 713-701-5214. Even if you're not a Space Cadet, we'll make you an honorary Space Cadet tonight by just calling in and putting your question to Dave, and that's 713-701-5214.
We won't make you choose sides.
Yeah.
Yet.
And by the way, guys, I have to say, I am loving and rocking the Spaceboy Universe T-shirt that y'all sent me.
I think it was well overdue, so yeah.
It goes with everything.
Yes.
So does that make me an honorary space cadet?
Oh, most definitely. As long as we're an honorary
Sweet.
Beyonder.
He's
Absolutely.
got like a backstage pass to whatever.
Whatever. I love the way you put that, Surlana. That was awesome.
Yeah, if we had like a venue and, a place to be outside of our house.
Yeah, but I was going to say real quick, if anybody wants to get a shirt, you go to the website, click the banner. It's kind of towards the top, and that will show you where you can get your own SBU T-shirt. So, anyway, you were going to say, Dave.
I was going to say, speaking of venues and places to be, we got the CITD coming up, right. And that is definitely one place that I am going this year.
So are you excited? Are you excited about it, or?
Oh, I'm totally excited! I can't wait! To meet all the people, all the rock stars of the paranormal community are going to be there, and I'm definitely
they're saying they always bill it as the Woodstock of the paranormal world.
Well, that definitely reminds me of a story that one of our listeners, Dino, told us about. Being in the
it does sound like a hippie place.
But yeah, it was we've gone in past couple of years that we've gone to Contact in the Desert. This year we're setting out this one, but you should have a lot of fun, Dave. I guess in the previous conversations that we've had, I wore my spacesuit out there, and it was crazy, and everybody had a great time, and it was a lot of fun hanging out with everybody. Hey, you know what, Dave? I think we might have somebody we can talk to. So let's see.
I've been spamming them the number.
Are you still there, Dave?
Yeah, probably Dave is there, but this is Fran.
Hold on, Fran. I'm trying to patch everybody in.
It's okay.
I think I just lost Dave.
No, Dave.
See, this is the one thing I hate about the Spreaker. Oh, here it is. There we go. Resume call or merge calls. There we go. Dave, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Not Fran. Fran, we love you. We're trying to get Dave back on the phone. Dave, are you there?
You lost Dave?
I guess I lost Dave.
Oh, my God. Okay, well, sorry about that. Okay, I'm trying.
Go ahead, Dave.
Turn down my.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of feedback in the back. If you could turn your radio down or your thing there. And,
it's down.
All right. How are you tonight, Fran?
I'm good. I was wondering, in Suisun, California, where he was talking about doing the Lawler house.
Yeah.
That place is such a hoax.
Why do you say?
I'm sorry. I lived there.
Okay.
Right around the corner from it. And there's a whole lot of other places.
Apparently, we just lost Fran. This is what I'm talking about, Dave, with this Spreaker thing that I have going on here. We just had Fran, and she made, I guess, a revelation about the house that you went to.
Is that right? Oh, well, she's from the same area.
Yes,
I believe.
And
back in the day.
Yeah. So, your experiences that you were there, you felt. Tell us again. You made a connection while you were there, correct? Right?
Yes, absolutely. And actually, that whole area, not just that building, but the whole area, it's based around a marina. Mm-hmm. It was one of the earlier businessmen that made the town big and basically created the place. It was an oil how you say it, cargo place where they would bring in the cargo through the water, a port. Thank you. But it was a port, and that's where they built the city around. a lot of bad stuff happened in around that area. The history is pretty bad, but that whole area is up and down the street supposedly is haunted, and there's a lot of other buildings that we could definitely do some investigations.
Well, do we want to address her opinion on it?
Well, we can try to, let's see here, do this again.
I don't know if you heard
Fran,
what
are
she
you there?
said.
Yeah, it's me.
Hey,
Dave,
Fran.
There we go. I figured it out.
I'm going to jump up and
We're
jump.
excited. So, Fran, before I rudely disconnected you by accident,
Fran,
what the hell?
I was like, Fran, it was an accident. Fran, come back.
So, Fran, go ahead. You had a question for Dave.
Or an opinion.
Yeah.
Or an opinion.
Well, yeah, Dave lives over in Napa. It's probably 30 miles from Fairfield, Suisun area. And I actually lived in Suisun for quite a few years. And my thing is, the Lawler house is bunkola. So
well, let's give Dave a chance
I want to know
to respond to that. I mean, Dave?
I'm sorry, what did you call it, Fran?
bunkola.
Bunkola. So
Yeah.
what
Did you
saying?
actually have any experience in there?
I did. I felt, again, I don't think it was anything that played with my mind or anything like that. And Nancy is a medium. She's gone through life with these sort of experiences as well. Put it this way. Nancy went to the building with me. I went to the building once, and that's when I felt that there was something there. And the second time I went there was with Nancy. Now, Nancy brought up a notebook and started writing a bunch of stuff down. And a lot of the things that she wrote down, put it this way, she had never been to that building as far as I know. She's never entered that place. She's from somewhere else. She's not from the area that I lived in. Oh, and by the way, Fran, I right now I am currently living in the area. I'm not living in Napa anymore.
Oh,
but,
you're not in Napa.
Right. I live, like you said, I live close to Napa now. But when she went in there, she had no idea about who lived there, who Lawler was, that sort of thing, this and that. She wrote everything down. Because the place is a museum now, we went down to where the information. I'm sorry?
Oh, yeah, I know it is a museum.
Yes, it's a museum now, and art gallery. And when she went down to where they have the museum part, they have a bunch of pictures, a bunch of. I mean, the experience that we had, I can go on about it, but the bottom line is the stuff that Nancy wrote down. We matched it up perfectly with everything that happened in that house, and she had never been in there.
Okay, that's very cool. Because everybody in town had heard about Lawler, and we all just went, bull.
Mm-hmm.
But there were other places in town that were extremely active, and nobody paid any attention to them at all.
Yep, one of them being the Main Street Bar.
627.
627,
Main
that's right.
Street.
Mm-hmm.
And another one was up the road going towards Fairfield. They had a bar, I don't even remember what it was called at this point in time, but they had pulled a piece of the boat I used to live on out of the slough, out of the Suisun Slough, and they pulled it into town, set it up as their bar. I had been sitting there for months with my back to the bar because at the point in time I was not drinking, and I was only there to see the band that was playing. And all of a sudden one day I turned around and I went, oh my God, this is from my old ship that I lived on. And they went, what? They called the manager and had him come over to interview me, and they wanted to know who the hell Elvis was. I was like, that's not Elvis. That's the captain.
Mm-hmm.
He would run up from the bilge, coming up through into the galley,
mm-hmm.
and up a stairway out onto the front deck and dive off. And I saw him twice in a mirror. And everybody at the bar was like, what the hell? What the hell? And I was like, dude, what are you talking about? And they said, we come in and we have glasses broken all over this area.
Yep.
Nobody's here. Glasses are broken. It looked like somebody ran through and just demolished the place.
Yeah.
And I said, that's the captain. You're right above where his way up was going. And they were like, oh my God. So they had me write it all down, and they put it into a format where it became part of the wine area magazine for the not a wine, but a microbrewery.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy crap, what? And they said, yeah, they sent me a copy of it, which I no longer have, unfortunately. But yeah, that whole area is crazy.
Yeah.
With ghosts.
Lots of activity. Yep.
Well, Fran,
yeah,
thanks for calling. We appreciate you calling in this evening.
Yeah. It is very cool. I mean, I know Lawler Ranch and been there a few times in my life.
Yeah.
And I just never felt anything there.
Well, the Lawler Ranch is separate from the Lawler House.
Right.
Well, now that it's a museum, of course, and the activity that's been talked about at the Lawler Museum, we'll just call it the Lawler House Museum, is the activity that's going on there. Is there's been multiple sightings of spirits, images, and just different people that are that claim to have seen something there. Also, I don't know, Fran, if you remember where the Lawler House is now. There was a like a grocery store. They turned it into like a theater.
Mm-hmm.
That also is supposedly has some spiritual activity, and the ghost that haunts that place is Mr. Beck. And Mr. Beck is another founder of Fairfield Sassoon,
right?
Beck Avenue, of course, you know where that is.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, Fran, we got another caller coming in, and we're getting close.
Thank you, Fran.
To
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fran.
Yeah, thanks for calling, Fran.
Okay, thanks for taking my call.
All right.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
All right. So we should have Miss Michelle. Are you there?
Yes.
How are you this evening?
I'm good. I'm a little bit nervous.
What are you nervous about?
My dear Jean has convinced me to call in and tell you guys my experience.
Okay. Go ahead and speak a little bit closer to the mic.
Okay.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi. How you doing, Dave?
Good. How you doing? Good to talk to you.
Yeah. So my heart's kind of racing because it happened when I was a child.
Okay.
And see, I was brought up in a military facility where they did a lot of testing. Anyway, I don't really want to go into that. That's what makes me really nervous. Anyway, when I was there, they also had Greys there, so I didn't get abducted per se, but they were doing testing on Greys also. And I remember they talk, but they would talk in your head. And I remember them as plain as day.
Dave, did you want to respond to that? Or?
No, I'm listening.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody goes silent, like they don't know what to say.
No, we just want to hear
trust us. We have lots to say, but when
I have heard that with other stories about supposedly at Area 51 or wherever these
you know what
were being held, they would communicate through you, even if you weren't in the same room or the same building. You could hear them.
Well, we were in the same building. I was kept in a similar holding places as the Greys were.
What this, I was going to say real quickly, what this reminds me of, and Dave, I don't know if you got to see this, was the Montauk Chronicles.
Right.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. We also had Chris Gaetano on the show in a previous episode talking about Montauk Chronicles, the Super Soldier Project, MK Ultra, all of that. And we definitely know about that. But go ahead, Michelle. This is a very interesting story.
Okay, well, I do know that when they're in their own climate and their proper air pressure and the chemicals in our air, that's why they look so great, because if they're put in their own climate, they almost look like they're very dark-skinned, and they'll grow hair, and their eyes don't look as big. Their eyes are so big because of the whole air difference. They'll lose their hair and everything. They're not actually bald. That's why you'll see some people come back and they're talking about hybrids. I think that they're seeing ones that haven't lost their hair and stuff like that. Yeah. But, yeah, they're very dark and, but nonetheless, I remember it too. I believe they were testing for the star child theory. I mean, I was born in the 70s, so, this was going on in the 80s, and, anyway.
Well, Michelle, it sounds fascinating. I wish we had more time to talk about this, because we're about to wrap the show up.
I know.
We can always talk about it again, like do a data bite thing too.
Yeah, in fact, at some point, could we reach out to you and maybe do a one-on-one with you and talk about this?
If you wish to do it.
Maybe.
Okay, we'll just think about it.
We'll be gentle. Okay. We won't bite. Well, Michelle, you have a great evening, and we'll follow up with you.
You can ask Dave. I can be hard to get a hold of sometimes.
Trust, we're persistent.
Okay.
Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you.
Good night, Michelle.
Thanks. Night.
Well, Dave, we're getting into the final few minutes. I know. Can you believe it? And this is the important part, is that, Dave, if I wanted to find you on the interweb, what do we need to do to find you in your show and all this good stuff? Lay us down the 411 to find you, sir.
Okay. You want to go to, first of all, I would say Facebook, and you can find Beyond the Strange there. You can also find us on Google+. We have a Facebook profile there also. Mm-hmm. We have a Beyond the Strange profile there on Google+. We also have, we're on Twitter, @StrangeDays2015. We have a Beyond the Strange website. It's www.beyondthestrange.com. That I feel horrible about, because I just haven't done anything with it, but I promise you guys, we just got a new logo, by the way, today.
Oh, yeah, it looks tight. Yeah, it looks very tight.
Yeah. Oh, man, thank you. And it's Tuco, tight. But yeah, we just got the logo, so we're trying to reimage ourselves and maybe perhaps start getting some swag, as you guys like to call it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so you can go to beyondthestrange.com. Our email is beyondthestrange@gmail.com. Please, you got any questions, comments, suggestions? You can always email there. Or you can always hit me up too at Dave Cruz or David Cruz on Facebook.
And finally, the show airs 6 p.m. Pacific time, Standard Time on Sunday nights. And
on their YouTube and on Spreaker.
Yes, there we go. And
that's right.
And that's what we call a wrap, Dave. Dave, thanks for being a part of the show tonight.
Thank you, guys.
There's our outro music. This has been Spaceboy Universe. I'm your host. Say goodnight, Surlana.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Surlana. Executive producer is Surlana. Producer credit goes out to Dennis Koch. Find Spaceboy at spaceboymusic.com and spaceboyuniverse.com. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. You have reached your final destination. Good night, Space Cadets.